All right, thank you. Second round in the South bracket, Maryland and Xavier coming up from the Gaylord Entertainment Center in Nashville, with the winner advancing on to the regional in San Antonio next week. Starting lineups: Kaner Medley, the freshman for Maryland; Randle, Holden, Nicholas, Blake. That's 4 seniors and a freshman on that side. West, Miles, Sato. Watch out for him. Chalmers and Finn for the Musketeers of Xavier. Head coach Gary Williams. He's taken his alma mater to the Final Four the last 2 seasons, including the national championship in Atlanta last spring. There is Thad Matta in his 2nd season, directing Xavier. 26-5 his team, the better seed of these two. Xavier the 3 seed in the region, while Maryland is the 6. Billy Packer, all set, ready to go?
Ready to go.
Got a big doubleheader here with Kentucky and Utah coming up in the 2nd game. Here's Steve Blake, who found foul trouble on Friday night as the Terrapins had that thrilling victory against UNC Wilmington, and a steal right away.
Great hands. Steve probably should have put that ball up.
Timeout called by Sato as he was flying out of bounds. Blake, who did not commit a turnover on Friday night, commits one here on the first possession. We'll be right back. All right, Greg, what a turnaround there. Let's bring in Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie.
Well, Jim, an emotionally drained Maryland team only practiced just over an hour yesterday. The focus obviously much on guarding David West. Gary Williams said the problem with West is he has the ability to pass through the double team and get the ball to the open guy on the perimeter, so you have to be selective. The plan right now is to have Taj Holden on West straight up. Then if he puts the ball on the floor, give him help.
All right, Bonnie. Sato hits his first shot of the day, a 3-pointer. He struggled from the outside on Friday night in the win against Troy State. Made one of only 8 attempts from behind the arc, Billy, on Friday.
Miles behind Randle. Randle got a lot of room in that low post.
Sato comes in for the rebound. He had a double-double in that game against the Trojans. And he can sky.
He might have been 1 for 8 from 3, but he got on the boards.
Miles gets the pass from West. They dump it inside.
Good up and under. And what's going to be interesting here, Maryland played effectively in the zone defense. It's a defense that has given Xavier some trouble of late, particularly West.
And here's the hero from Friday, Drew Nicholas.
Chalmers on it, giving up some height.
Kaner Medley wriggles free, but too strong on the layup.
He's got a little bit too much energy on that one. Didn't relax. A freshman playing a big role here for Maryland with a very experienced team. Here is the zone.
Miles from the outside.
Good block out.
Yeah, Randle had a huge night too the other day.
Jim, I said zone, but yet I didn't see any movement there. It might have been the fact that Xavier was just standing still. We'll have to take a look at it and see how long it takes Maryland to go into the zone. Blake got a good crossover dribble on Finn to start off with.
Inside Nicholas, jump shot. He's going to the line. Chalmers.
Nicholas loves that curl move. It's probably the best offensive set that Maryland runs to get him open. And he has size on Chalmers, and he's a good elevator, so he ought to be able to get that shot off.
2 shots for Drew Nicholas. He was asked about the running one-hander, the winner the other night, off balance and all. He didn't think he made it, Billy. He thought it was short.
Well, it was a great decision on his part. The play was designed for Steve Blake to take it. When you've got 5 seconds, you want your best dribbler and your quickest man up the court because you can take it all the way to the hole. But Nicholas has got the ball. Unfortunately for Maryland, not only got it, but knew what to do with it. There's West from outside on Holden, and Holden pushes him. I think he surprised Holden with his quickness off the dribble. You know, everybody who watches this young man for the first time is really surprised how he can step outside with his incredible statistics as both a rebounder and shot blocker out of the Atlantic 10. You assume he's strictly a low post player, but that's not the case at all.
There you see his line against Troy State, a very quiet evening and limited because of 2 fouls in the first half. And, well, and also didn't appear late in the game like they were really going to have to wear him down anyway. Save him for Sunday. 12 points, 8 rebounds. It's back-to-back games, though. 12 points for David West when you go back to their loss in the semis of the Atlantic 10 tournament to Temple. Could be a big day today, however.
He had 15 rebounds in that Temple game, however. And that, again, was against the great John Chaney Temple zone defense.
Nicholas whips it in. Randle off the glass, too strong, and West controls.
Randle had to alter that shot because he felt West coming at him.
Here's Chalmers with the three. Nicholas comes down with it, brings it to the front court, pull up 3. And out to Blake. He'll reset.
Jim, how often do we see a guy with the ball as dangerous as Nicholas and nobody picked him up? The most dangerous player, particularly one that can shoot that well, is the guy with the ball in his hands. Great pass.
Holden to Randle.
Miles on a back pick, got stuck. Holden, an excellent passer, and to be quite honest with you, Jim, I think he's got an inch on West in height. Wouldn't you say that?
I don't think there's any question.
Yeah. He's actually bigger. Straight man-to-man by Maryland. Kind of surprises me.
Painter Medley gets over there quickly. Got a hand on it, too. Well, he knew Sato was setting up for that three-point jumper on the wing. Blake, that's a travel.
Second turnover for Steve Blake in this game early on. Talking about a young man who's had an incredible year with assist-turnover ratio. 209 assists, just 91 turnovers coming into the game. Turns over 2 quickly.
And again, no turnovers on Friday night.
See Randle playing way off Miles. West will take that shot.
Too strong. Randle had Miles on his back.
Nice block out by Randle, but of course he's already in under that rebounding position. Miles going to have to take up some slack. Good screen for Blake.
Blake goes right past Finn, gives up Holden, and a foul on Miles.
What we're seeing right now, the screening from Maryland, the Xavier players are not hedging at all, and therefore they're getting screened off. We've seen on the curl move twice now, that time for Blake, earlier for Nicholas.
Watching Taj Holden, as we have for better part of his career, Billy, singing with the last 2 Final Fours, it's surprising when you look at this soft touch that his career high is only 20.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Jim. You know, he kind of settled in as a sub prior to this year. You know, and sometimes when guys accept the position, they don't really step up to be maybe as good as they really could be. This young guy is a fine student, a student leader on campus, but maybe accepted the role as a substitute player.
Got a beautiful outside 3, 6'10". Miles.
Good job by Randle. That was just great defense. 2-on-1, great. Randle held his ground.
Nicholas 3 from the corner. You got it.
Serve that one up to Randle. That was just as good as you can play, stuck with numbers against you on the break, and particularly with 2 players as good as Sato and Miles.
After being down 6-1, Maryland was 7 unanswered.
Painter Medley on Sato. That's a tough matchup in quickness.
Sato, he has the touch tonight. This is again after he did a lot of things on Friday except shoot the outside jumper well.
Sato with a 34 and a 35-point back-to-back games. You know he's an explosive scorer.
Well, that's open almost every time, Randle.
A lot of back screening by Maryland, and Xavier not adjusting to it at all. David West getting very annoyed out there. His guards are not talking. It's a matter of a lack of communication when you're being screened from behind. And Maryland again, they're staying in this man-to-man. Gary Williams probably figured, let's see how long we can go man-to-man before we show him the zone.
Away from the ball, it's called on Nicholas.
There's that passing.
Randle once from Holden, once from Blake.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the Men's Basketball Championship is sponsored by Budweiser, Wachovia Securities, IBM, and by Pontiac.
Well, the Country Music Hall of Fame here in the great city of Nashville. Went out to see the Grand Ole Opry last night. What a place, what hospitality we've had here in Nashville, Tennessee, as we resume with Xavier and Maryland. Maryland after a 6-1 deficit, now in front 10-9.
Miles now getting down in the low post instead of stepping out. He has no business with 3 good perimeter players being outside.
West, and it got, travel. It could have, well, Holden already with 1 foul. That was a critical call.
I thought it was a pretty good play by Holden, and the reason West got open on that extra stretch, Jim, was that extra step. So far, Blake has been able to dribble penetrate, and there's that curl move again for Nicholas.
Nicholas gets up so high on his jumper, but short that time.
And with Chalmers on him, I think Nicholas is going to be able to get a lot of those shots. Great steal by Randle.
Randle got a hand in there, but Sato was in the right spot.
Got Randle on West now on the switch.
Miles working over Holden, and Holden pulls it down.
Oh, you like to see big men that don't go up and try to block shots. Just play good position defense. That's what Holden did. Good job by West out there to not allow Holden to have such an easy passing lane, and a cheap foul on West. Holden must have some pretty strong hands, Jim. Because West got a little piece of that ball, and Holden didn't lose it at all.
A couple of times I thought for sure it'd get swiped.
Yep. But you can see what Maryland's doing. They're using Holden as the passer.
Holden gets the inbounds, too strong. Randle over the back.
Holden felt he was fouling, and that was a big break for Xavier because Miles had his head turned to the passer and never did see the ball coming inbounds. So many times this year we have seen man-to-man and out-of-bounds situations when guys don't see their man and the ball in a triangle position, and that ball's coming in for easy layups.
I'd like to welcome everyone to Xavier and Maryland in the South bracket. Xavier led early 5-0. Here's their big star, David West, and it spins out. Romain Sato, the other All-Atlantic 10 player for the Musketeers, with a couple of early threes.
Jim, West could have picked up his 2nd foul very easily there. He banged in to Taj Holden to get the space to shoot that turnaround jumper.
Will Cottle has come in for Xavier for the first time, number 52. Freshman Finn trying to get West going here. Fade away, again back in the rim. Cottle, fresh off the bench, misses the chippy, and here come the Terrapins.
Don't have the numbers. Xavier gets back nicely.
Holden, there's that 3-point shot that he looks so good on, but not that time.
He does not shoot well, Jim, when he's moving to take that shot. He's best when he's out on the outside and in a standstill position.
Finn.
It looks good.
And Nicholas, 3-on-2.
Xavier doing a great job getting back, but Chalmers no chance whatsoever giving up so much size to Kaner Medley.
Kaner Medley, that was an appetizing way to run a break with Nicholas getting the assist.
Xavier, not a very deep team, basically plays their perimeter team with the exception of Jackson the whole game. There's another steps by West, being affected by Holden's ability to stay on the floor.
It's the 2nd time he's been called for traveling. Maryland and Xavier, the winner advancing to San Antonio.
You know, Jim, something interesting, Xavier with their great basketball tradition. They've only played one other ACC team in NCAA play. That was when they played back in '87 against Duke. And that was a Tommy Amaker team that beat Xavier up in Indianapolis.
Duke team that went on to lose to Cal. Smith comes off the bench and Blake gets the assist.
West got turned around completely. Maryland, a deeper team, can give up some fouls with the likes of Smith and Garrison if he comes into the game.
These two have tangled only one time, Billy. Back in the 70s. And off the hands of Sato. No, they say Maryland touched it last.
And you know, when you start thinking of people that have played, Thad Matta, although he was not the coach at Xavier at the time, was the coach at Butler and gave an ACC team, Wake Forest, a thorough beating in NCAA tournament play.
That was his last win as the coach of Butler, talking about Thad Matta, now the head man at Xavier. Won at Butler in the tournament against Wake Forest.
Nice move by Cottle, lost the ball, lost the handle.
Nicholas snaps at corner. Blake hit the shot Friday night and does it again.
Well, Finn had nothing he could do. He had to go with a jumping closeout on Blake, who loves that pump fake. Blake has become a much better outside perimeter shooter this year. Maybe that's one of the reasons that his assist numbers are down somewhat in terms of how many he's gotten, because he's played a lot of 2-guard.
Sato for the 3rd time. No. And with the rebound, it's Calvin McCall.
Right now, Jim, the Maryland guards are getting a lot of these long rebounds because Xavier's spending a lot of time getting back down court quickly.
Nicholas backing in. Sato right over him. Chased down by McCall. Blake, another three. Ooh, that
another rebound by McCall.
McCall comes right in. Very active, the former Terrapin quarterback.
Gary Williams getting good work out of his bench in terms of fresh legs.
And West reached in, but right into Nicholas's arms. He's going to the line.
Maryland right now getting some confidence in their ability to get the ball and dominate the glass.
A lot of snap in this team today, Billy.
It really is.
Well, repeat national champions, the last to do so. Duke, 91-92.
Look at that UCLA run, Jim. Isn't it unbelievable what John Wooden's teams were able to do?
Can't make sense of it. You really can't.
No, you really can't. In this day and age, of course, it'll never be duplicated. You say records are made to be broken, but I don't think that string will ever even be approached.
Well, Nicholas, the man who kept Maryland's hopes alive with that sensational shot.
To give an example, Jim, to put that in some kind of... Mike Krzyzewski's Duke team now has gotten to the Sweet 16 6 straight years, and we talk about that as an incredible accomplishment. We're talking about what Coach Wooden did over that period of time. They weren't Sweet 16s. Those were national crowns. Kind of amazing.
The amazing thing about this young man, the last two Maryland victories have both come on Drew Nicholas buzzer beaters. North Carolina State and then UNC Wilmington on Friday night here in Nashville. Terrapins on an 11-0 run. Of this game, David West has missed his first three from the field.
Jim, I think the key so far is that Maryland's legs seem fresher. And could that have anything to do with Troy State in terms of the pace of the game the other day?
I think it's probably a combination of that, plus the way that Maryland entered the game on Friday. I mean, what a spark.
Well, emotionally, obviously, that was a great way to win a game. Here's Maryland showing the zone for the first time.
You see a lot of emotion on this Maryland team, which has brought in Andre Collins, #2. So they've got Collins and McCall and Blake out there.
Well, only one Maryland starter on the floor right now.
Huddle.
That's the
double dribble there, Billy. An 11-0 Terrapin spurt here to lead 19-9.
Now, Gary Williams trying to steal some minutes, but I have to look out on the floor and say, where do his points come from with this lineup? Oh, there they come.
Inside. There you go. There's your answer.
David West has been caught asleep defensively on any kind of screening inside. That's the third time today a ball has been able to have been tossed right down underneath the basket for a layup.
It's at least that many times. That's two dunks by Jamar Smith, and Randle early had a lot of passes coming in his way from Holden and Blake.
And here's the zone, and what Gary Williams trying to do is steal some minutes with this bench.
Chalmers, he is set, and he delivers.
Good pass by Sato. And Collins being small, a lot different than being guarded by a Nicholas who's got about 3 inches on Chalmers.
That ends a 13-0 run. Look at Blake flying.
Right by Chalmers. Remember on the first play of the game, Steve gave it up on the pass and had the turnover and probably was anticipating West being a shot blocker in there. That time he challenged him all the way to the hoop. Collins awful small out here in the wings. They get the ball to Jackson or to Sato and shoot right over the top of Collins. Sato's coming on this side. That's where the ball ought to come. He's got an easy jump shot if he gets it.
West, he'll work over Smith and one. And called on #1.
Nice soft touch. David West, Jim, now that you start seeing the Player of the Year awards coming in, it looks like, if not consensus, he'll be close to that in terms of the voting. Wouldn't you think?
He's already claimed the United States Basketball Writers National Player of the Year award.
55 straight games with double figures. In the last 86 games he's played, he's had 85 games in double figures. Very consistent for a young man that, as a senior in high school, basically was without scholarship offers.
Had a Garner, North Carolina. Went to Hargrave Military Academy. Get a little notice up there as Drew Nicholas comes back on the floor for the Terrapins.
And West this year has been to that foul line 245 times.
6-point run by the Musketeers. Garrison, freshman, yes.
Boy, that was the best I saw Xavier legs move defensively. And here's Garrison off the bench, the DeMatha product, hitting the jumper. Back to man-to-man. I think Gary Williams saw enough of the zone, at least with this basically substitute team on the floor.
Double up on West. Beat Jackson in for Xavier, but it's Sato.
Nothing there.
With hands again, has Jackson. He always has the energy.
Boy, Jackson showed incredible ability to leap. But see, these are fouls, and obviously you don't want to put the other team on the line. But for Gary Williams, you can afford with a Smith to pick up some fouls on West to wear him down.
Yeah, that's 2, and he'll head out with Holden coming back and Randle, the 2 starters. Garrison also returns to the bench. He hit a jumper, though, in that stretch.
And all you're trying to do if you're Gary Williams there are steal minutes, Jim. Keep your team fresh, keep them out of foul trouble. Back to the man-to-man.
Jackson.
Wow, can he elevate?
Quick outlet to Collins. Collins finds Randle on the run.
Whoa, great shot.
Got pushed on the shot.
And he put that up right-handed. You got to figure Miles should have got a piece of that ball.
Miles, that's his second.
That was very blockable. Watch this. He's going to put it up right-handed, and Miles let him go right on by. He should have blocked that ball or at least got a piece of it.
Here's a guy that got a little heat during the season, but Gary Williams said this week in Nashville we would not have been in the NCAAs without Ryan's play this year.
Well, he had a game, a nightmare game, foul trouble, had 4 fouls on him against North Carolina that first round of the ACC tournament where they lost to the Tar Heels. He was 0 for 2, 1 point, 6 rebounds for the game. Very unlike him because he's played big in big games.
Different story here in the NCAAs. 15 points, 16 rebounds in the opening round win against North Carolina Wilmington. Another good start here. West kicks it out to Chalmers.
There was no double down on that play either. Randle held his ground with Miles.
Miles with the fadeaway.
Nice job by Miles.
So a big start here by Maryland. We've seen comeback wins today, double-digit comebacks. Louisville was up big on Butler. Syracuse is way down to Oklahoma State. They both came back to win.
Who's this going to be on, Sato or Finn?
It's called on Finn, his first. Xavier shooting only 30% from the field. Maryland by 11. Little chance to review some trends in the tournament here on Sunday, and all the 4s are out. Dayton, a first-round loss, and then second-round losses by the rest.
Jim, one of the things, Illinois, as an example, I thought the strongest of the 4s. Another inbounds play, slipped by Sato, but one of the things that I thought in Notre Dame's play yesterday, as far as team playing efficiently, that might have been as fine a game as I've seen played in the tournament in terms of playing up the potential and maybe a little bit above it.
Finn with a 3, cuts it to 10. Notre Dame heading on to the West Regional in Anaheim. UConn eliminated Stanford. They'll be in the South bracket with the winner of this game down in San Antonio.
Notre Dame getting 2 of the 8 wins, and again, so easy to get the ball inside. Getting 2 of the 8 wins for the Big East that now find themselves at 8-0.
Certainly.
What a claim. Giving Boston Colleges and Seton Halls, huh?
A lot of credibility to those teams that were just, you have to feel the last cuts not to make the field. West, they work it over. Holden defending again.
Tough shot. Fading away is West. I think West is going to have to go more to the rim. He's faded away on almost all his shots.
This efficient Terrapin offense has hit its last 6 shots. McCall giving them some good minutes.
Ooh, Blake with a good fake.
All right, stolen away. He left without the ball. Chalmers, he's so quick too.
Better stay with Chalmers.
Finn, no one there.
Jim, you said no one there, but Chalmers should have been there. That was an easy layup for him.
Coming up, singular at the half with Greg and Clark, updating you on all the tournament news, scores and highlights, and a live look at action elsewhere in the NCAA tournament. Coming up, singular at the half, 32-20, Maryland. And foul called away from the ball on Taj Holden, his second.
Miles didn't have any problem except in that physical push. Holden picks up his second. He's going to come out.
Williams hates to see that. He immediately calls for Jamar Smith, who comes back on the floor with two, but can't afford Holden to pick up the third in the first half. Kaner Medley also returns to the lineup.
Boy, good job by McCall in regard to the minutes played. He didn't have anything up there in regard to points, but got some rebounds, played aggressive defense.
Good play by McCall off the bench. We've also seen Collins, but not Gilchrist, who had a big role in the Friday win. Sato and West teaming up yet again.
There he goes to the basket as opposed to the fadeaway. You'll find out it's going to be much more effective.
Under 6 minutes to play in the half. The 10-point lead for the defending champions.
Randle with West on him.
Randle making a move, but bypasses the shot. Blake works it back into him. Randle wants it.
Wow! He is taking it at the nation's top player.
That is now 11 for the game for Randle.
Randle, a young man who had a 10-for-10 game this year against Wagner to tie at Maryland record.
Blake with the steal, and Chalmers gives chase. He shields with the body. Randle gets the rebound, and they're going to call him for the foul.
Steve Blake cannot believe he missed it. Jim, what did that play remind you of with Steve Blake? Remember the play against Jason Williams in the Duke game? The incredible Duke game where Jason was turning around to look at Coach K, and all of a sudden...
Last year.
Yep, and all of a sudden, here comes Steve Blake picking it off, but he missed the easy layup and really cost his team dearly there.
I did not see a foul there, I have to say. I thought Randle was in great position.
2 hands on the ball.
2 hands on the ball, and it takes away 2 at that end and gives him a 1-on-1 at the other.
Blake should have made this shot. Put it up with the right hand, and again, that was a good rebound. That was not a foul at all on Randle.
Chalmers again 1-on-1.
Jim, this Xavier team, statistically, this is hard to believe. They've shot 321 more free throws than their opponents, and actually have made 131 more than their opponents have shot. Those are numbers that have to rank with records.
Garrison with the rebound at the other end. It's Nicholas with the layup.
Chalmers with his head turned. Xavier having a lot of trouble keeping up with cutters so far in this ball game.
Sato with Kaner Medley guarding. Maryland was down 5-0 at the start of this game, but 36-18 after that. West fadeaway over Smith. And he's had a couple like that today. They look so soft, but they spin off the rim.
But Jim, here's the problem. When you're a big man and you're shooting fadeaway jumpers, what can you not do? You can't get any offensive rebounds. He's got to go to the basket.
Blake, tough pass. Smith got it. He'll challenge the All-America and delivers. That's 6 off the bench for Jamar Smith.
This is the best bench play I've seen out of this Maryland team this year. Shows you the confidence that Gary Williams has in him, and he made a move to the bench very early in this game.
Largest lead of the game.
Also, you can see from a scouting standpoint, Maryland not going to play Miles when he has the ball outside.
Sato takes baseline and brought down. Wants Smith over the back for his third. Ooh, Garrison had a great block. But Sato picks up the loose change. Follow every play from each game of the NCAA tournament in the Game Center, along with updated scoreboards at CBSSportsline.com. America Online. Keyword is CBS Sportsline. Romain Sato out of Dayton, Ohio, just a junior. And so much respect around that league for him. And Holden comes back, Billy, with 2 fouls.
Well, Gary Williams doesn't want Smith to pick up his 4th. He sure doesn't want Holden to have his 3rd either. Sato didn't take up basketball until he was 14 years of age. Kind of amazing. From the Central African Republic, came to the United States. And obviously at that time did not speak English, but he not only speaks English, but knows how to play the game now.
Here in Nashville, Jim Nance, Billy Packer, Bonnie Bernstein taking a look at the Pontiac high performance of the day. Brandon Knight of Pittsburgh, 17, 7 assists, 5 steals. Pittsburgh ousting Indiana. For more great performances as they happen, go to NCAAsports.com. Raj Holden with 2 fouls. They've got 2 on Randle, 2 on Smith. And the lay-in by Kaner Medley increases the lead to 16, which is the tallest order of the day. 16.
What's happening is Chalmers or Finn, neither one have been able to stop Blake with dribble penetration. That's setting up numbers down inside.
Sato bangs out. Good blocks out by the freshman Garrison.
Garrison and Smith, terrific job on the glass off the bench.
Kaner Medley flying through, got it back out, and Blake allowed the reset.
Now he's got Finn. Let's see if he breaks him down off the dribble again. Didn't have to.
Shooting 62% this half. Tipped up, Nicholas, tipped up again, Garrison. And out comes Xavier. 3 close range looks there for the Terrapins. West going to work. Back out Chalmers. He can hit that shot.
That's West picks up a cheap one on Garrison.
That's his second, Billy.
And what Gary Williams is doing here beautifully, I think, is using this bench, which is deeper, as we know, than Xavier, to go ahead and steal minutes and now pick up some fouls.
Down 16, 2 fouls on West. When he had 2 in the first half Friday, they sat him, but he's staying on the floor right now. Maryland and Xavier, the winner advancing to the Sweet 16 in San Antonio, where it'll face the winner of the Michigan State-Florida game coming up later today from Tampa. Garrison, yes, he'll get one more.
Garrison played for the legendary Morgan Wooten in Morgan's last year at DeMatha. Looks like he's going to be a fine prize. This is an interesting situation in Maryland, Jim. Last year, 4 seniors moved on. This year, he's got 4 seniors again, but he's kind of reloading with this freshman class, and it'll be interesting to watch the transition.
And like this group of seniors, Blake, a starter on the championship and Final 4 teams. That shot blocked from behind and taken away by Maryland.
Again, what West is doing is keeping the ball in possession too long and fading away.
Nicholas in and out and cleared by Cottle.
Good block out by Cottle that time. Keaton Holden off the boards.
It's a lot of seniors, but a lot of experience given to the underclassmen.
Again, doubling down is Nicholas. And what West has got to understand, that ball's coming in. He ought to pop it right back out on the double downs.
Works right around Garrison. Back to the line for 2.
How often we've seen since he goes to the basket, it's much more effective.
Drew Nicholas in this game, 10 points for the Terrapins.
Nicholas moving so well without the ball, just as we saw Juan Dixon last year. Hitting the jumper, making the pass. Off to a good start as the young man that ended up with a pretty good finish the other night.
And guess what? He's their top rebounder today with 5. 2 shots for West.
West, an excellent free throw shooter, shooting 82% on the year.
And here's Gilchrist for Nicholas. Gilchrist played a lot of minutes the other night, freshman from Virginia Beach, Virginia. West, who had his jersey retired at Xavier and graduated in December out of the School of Communications. 1 and 2. Kaner Medley snaps the outlet pass to Blake. Under 2 minutes to play in the half.
Now, Gilchrist, who also can penetrate well with the dribble. Gilchrist has the ball back from Blake, the all-time assist leader at Maryland. Freshman saying, give me the ball.
Holden caught in a pinch. 10 seconds on the shot clock.
Best defensive sequence for Xavier in the game right now.
Let's see what Blake does. He's got 3 seconds to operate on Finn. Jumper, 3. Tipped around, picked up by the freshman Garrison.
Right over West.
And gets the roll.
Right over West.
This now the highest first half point total allowed this season by Xavier. 43 on the board for Maryland.
There's a hold on the inside. Tanner Medley trying to fight over the screen to get to Sato.
For Maryland, it's 10th straight year in the tournament. Just one of 6 teams that can lay claim to at least 10 straight appearances. Arizona on to the Sweet 16 with 19. That was the thrilling game of the day yesterday.
Absolutely. UCLA dropping off that list this year, not getting into the tournament.
McCall, Nicholas come back in for the final minute.
Sato, a first team All-Atlantic 10. Offense and defense.
It's been all league defense the last 2 years.
Here's Gilchrist. Let's see what Finn can do with Gilchrist dribble penetration. Gary Williams keeping Blake fresh and out of trouble. Gilchrist has a lot of confidence with that ball. We saw him in his first nationally televised game against Florida this year. There he goes.
And he made moves just like that on the Gators.
Neither Finn nor Chalmers doing a good job at all stopping Maryland's dribble penetration, and that has been a major breakdown for Xavier in this first half.
18-point lead, just a second difference on the shot clock. And the foul here on Maryland again.
But they're giving up fouls by guys coming off of that bench that Gary Williams can afford to lose. 24 seconds. Be sure that Gilchrist and Nicholas are going to try to occupy this ball for the last shot. McCall also a pretty good ball handler in there for Maryland.
Would you not want to bring in Blake here for that last possession of the half?
Well, might not be a bad idea, but I think Gary figures the way he's using his bench today that he can't fault him. Here he goes. He's putting Blake in.
Here you go. Jumps to his feet.
So it looks like assistant Dave Dickerson said Jim Nance just said, Gary, that you ought to put Blake in the game.
All right, Blake will take the place of Gilchrist. Holden also comes out. Jamar Smith in. Smith has been set free for a couple of inside moves, has 6 points. This Maryland bench, a big part of the story here, outscoring the Xavier bench 13-0.
Well, Xavier does not go deep. Basically, 2 guys come off the bench for them in total. But this Maryland team has been outstanding with production and minutes.
Miles comes back.
West's going to sit down so he doesn't pick up another foul.
All right, let's check the final halftime margin here. Maryland.
Half-court zone trap now, though, by Xavier. Trying to get out of that man-to-man situation. Steve Blake want to hold it out here as long as he can.
Challenged by a freshman. Over to McCall with 7 seconds. Nicholas.
Got it slightly touched. That may go.
Bounces twice out. Finn looks up. He'll launch it at midcourt. Got a chance. Ooh. Second largest halftime deficit of the year for Xavier. Maryland led by Randle's 11. Nicholas with 10. Sato on the Xavier side with 9. Let's go over to Bonnie Bernstein.
Gary, one of your biggest concerns heading into the tournament was your inside game. Why has it been successful?
I think we've passed well. We found open guys, and they've just been able to catch it and put it in the basket. So as long as we keep passing well, we're a pretty good inside scoring team.
The importance of your bench. You've been getting a lot of points from them.
Yeah, we went to them early, and they really came through, and it rests our starters. So hopefully we can be fresh for the second half.
Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
And his team was down 5-0 right at the start. It was all Maryland after that. What a first half performance. Greg and Clark coming up from New York when we continue on the road to the Final Four on CBS in a moment.
Games at halftime and in progress, and we'll take you out to a live look in as we continue our tournament coverage.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half. Singular's wireless polling allows you to get into the game.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to New York and to Singular at the Half. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with my partner Clark Kellogg. And at halftime, the Maryland Terps are very much in charge against the 3rd seed Musketeers of Xavier, 45-28.
Completely. If you shoot closer to the basket than the other team, you should make more shots. And Maryland getting whatever they want in the paint and also doing a nice job in making it tough for David West, the player of the year, to get going for Xavier. Tough perimeter shot there. Just doesn't get the roll here. That's a pretty good look. Then he's harassed into a walk. And at the defensive end of the floor, just no resistance being offered by Xavier. Ryan Randle had double digits inside there. Then Blake off the dribble, no help. And Maryland cruising And Gary Williams has also gotten good production from his bench in that first half.
Winner gets a ticket to San Antonio, and right now it's a 45-28 lead for Maryland. Meanwhile, in Birmingham, Alabama, the top seed in the South, the Longhorns being put to the task pretty well by the Purdue Boilermakers. Coming up on 4 minutes to play, let's join Craig Bolerjack and Dan Bonner.
Melvin Buckley, the freshman, just hit from the corner, cuts it down to 2. A whistle over the back. Texas, the 1 seed, battling the 9th seed. Purdue out of the South, 26-24, under 4 minutes left. Erskine picks up the foul for Texas, his first.
Gene Katie's Purdue Boilermakers got started out of the blocks pretty quickly. They got to a 14-9 lead because they forced a couple of turnovers and got some easy baskets. Texas, only a couple of turnovers since the early part of the game, and as a result, they've been able to set the defense, and Purdue has struggled against the set defense.
Good look at Kiefer. Misses the first. Freshman from Maynard High School out of Evansville, Indiana. 5 ties, 4 lead changes, and Texas, Dan, with the biggest lead of 6. Missed the first and made the second. Kiefer with 2 points and a timeout. Texas leading Purdue 26-25 in Birmingham. Texas leads Purdue 26-25. Both teams, Dan, have hit a pair of 3-pointers. 9 turnovers for the Longhorns. It's strange tempo kind of game, wouldn't you say? 21 fouls already called, just under 4 minutes left in the first half.
You're right, Greg. It's hard to get a real pace to a game going when there are so many whistles, but these are 2 big, strong, physical teams. Things will heat up as we go along, I am sure.
Erskine, strong move. Tipped away, and Kiefer has it for Purdue.
It's a game that has gone back and forth, however. Purdue with the lead. Texas took the lead. Now Purdue with a chance to go ahead.
Boy, bad read. Low. Looked to Busher. He broke inside instead of out. And a turnover for the Boilermakers. 6th turnover for Purdue. Texas with 9. 4 drives, kicks to the corner. Ivy pulls up, soft jumper, got it.
Boy, that's a tough shot. Ivy's made a couple of baskets in this first half. Wide open 3, and now that one driving it into the lane.
6 points for Royale Ivy.
So Texas with a 3-point lead in Birmingham. We'll keep tabs for you. In Tampa, the second half is underway. Wake Forest, a 4-point lead at the break. They're about a minute in. Let's take you there live. Ian Eagle and Jim Spanarkel are courtside.
Position. 18:59 to go here. Second half. Wake Forest 38, Auburn 34. Personal foul on Vitas Danilus of Wake. Demon Deacons have never trailed here this afternoon.
Little size advantage here. Daniel should try to get Gray down on the blocks if they stay with this set.
Off the back end. Davis, the finish off the glass.
They'll get him involved a little bit once again. I think the front line of Auburn has to play a little bigger down low on the offensive end. They're pretty good rebounders. They're pretty good at the defensive end. Start to step it up a little bit, and then Daniels can step in and take over.
First 2 of the game for Kyle Davis, the junior. Danilus ball fake. And a foul called as he tried to take the baseline.
Now, Davis was out of position initially there because of the ball fake. And Danilus does a lot of things that don't really get a whole lot of pub and get noticed all the time. But he's a terrific basketball player who does all the dirty work for this team.
First foul on Davis. Outside, Howard the jumper. He hits.
And a good decision also by Levy there in the inbounds play. They had the ball closer to the basket. Sometimes when there's a lot of traffic in there, you want to kick it out. Howard just found a nice spot where he could be seen on the floor.
Josh Howard now with 10 points. Excellent perimeter ability for the 6'6" senior. Bird blocked by Howard on the defensive end. Davis loses his footing and out of bounds off of Auburn. At halftime, our own Darren Horton spoke with Auburn coach Cliff Ellis.
Cliff Ellis, your team was down by as much as 9. You were able to whittle it down to 4. What do you have to do to get over the top?
Well, I think the guy that's stuck his head up for Wake Forest has been Gray. Off the bench, 15 points. Been a 28-29% three-point shooter. He's hit big shots. We got to get out on him. Continue to focus on the boards and transition, because that's where Wake's going to score. Keep them off the line. Keep going inside.
Thank you very much. Ryan, back to you.
Off the deflection, Auburn hurries ahead. Bird on line for a 3, but a little too much on it. Here's Gray the other way. The big first half. Gray leaning in, gets the roll.
Boy, his decision's been very, very good. We've seen him do a number of things. Shoot the ball from long range. We've seen him pull up from 7 or 8 feet away after he's broken people down on the dribble, and then all the way to the glass with a tough one just then after breaking down some players in the open floor.
17 points for Gray. His career high is 20. He scored it against Wisconsin, the freshman.
The tone of his first half was when Auburn started to get in trouble, they made some decisions and started going to the basket and had better results. Let's see if they can go towards it now.
Monroe loses the ball. Here's Daniluk, the lob. Catch, layup, doesn't go for Howard.
See, sometimes too much emphasis is put on this 2-on-1 breaks with the lobs. They have to go with the basic basketball.
Still a lot of time to play in the second half. It is a 6-point game. Wake Forest leading Auburn, and the Tigers look like they have a little staying power.
They do, because they can get the ball inside. They need to complement that with some three-point shooting, and then they've got to tag Justin Gray, who's having a big day so far.
All right, we have 2 more games coming your way here on CBS in prime time. They will start in Tampa around 7 Eastern time. 7th seed Michigan State against the number 2 seed in the South, Florida. And in the Midwest, tipping at about 7:10 in Nashville, it'll be the top seed in the Midwest, Kentucky against Utah. We thank you for watching Singular at the Half. Coming up next, Dan Rather with a CBS News special report, America at War.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half. Singular's wireless polling allows you to get into the game. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the Men's Basketball Championship is sponsored by Chevy Trucks, Monster, HP, and by Comfort Inn.
Just off Broadway Street here in Nashville, where Xavier and Maryland, the first of 2 to tangle today here, and the Terrapins found it easy going inside, then made shots from the outside as well, shutting down the likes of Sato and West that first half. Barry Williams' team had all the answers that first half. Billy, when you look at the halftime stats, it's heavily tilted toward the Maryland side.
Kind of amazing there, and you have Sato 2 for 7, West 2 for 8, part of the reason for that 28%. Bench points 13-0. We thought that Maryland would have an advantage, but Gary Williams really utilized his bench beautifully. And those points in the paint, a lot of that was caused by breakdowns by Steve Blake beating the defender off the dribble and setting up 2-on-1 situations inside.
11 for Randle, leading the way. Santos 9 for Xavier. West right behind him with 8. And Xavier possession to begin the second half.
And Jim, a big rebound differential too for Maryland, 24-14 in that first half.
Sato and West combined connected on only 4 out of 15 shots. The Xavier team didn't even hit a shot the last 6 minutes of the half.
Now Miles, by playing outside, Sato with a big fadeaway jump shot. Miles is playing way outside, Jim. I think he's out of position the way Maryland's defending him, because he's too far away to score. He's not a threat to make the pass, and he can't get in there to rebound.
Randle short on the little flip shot that was successful in the first half.
Now see, when Miles posts up, it makes it much more difficult to defend if you're Maryland, because West can step outside and take a shot.
Finn on the fly, and he banks it home.
There's the first time today we have seen Xavier break down the Maryland defense with a dribble penetration. Very important now, if you're the Maryland team with the lead, to get a good second half start.
Oh, Holden almost had a 3-point play. Let's go over to Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie?
Well, Jim, one of the reasons why Thad Matta said Xavier was having a tough time inside defensively, 2 things. He said we had a lot of trouble picking up Maryland's back screens. The other thing is Taj Holden would get it up top, David West would be up there, and then throw the ball inside, and there's nobody else to defend. So those are two things he wanted his team to be more aware of in the second half.
All right, thank you, Bonnie. But that worked again right there on that possession. Nicholas dumped it inside to an open Holden.
Well, one of the things, Jim, if your dribble penetration is as effective as Maryland's has been so far, it's very difficult to ask the inside players to be picking up the dribbler and also stay with their man. And so Maryland has done an excellent job with that. And let's see if Finn tries to take Blake again.
Blake, who was harnessed with foul trouble Friday night, no fouls in this game, 5 assists. And West loses the handle. Ball kicked out, last by Nicholas.
I think it's going to be Xavier's ball, but the clock is down to 17 seconds. Jim, that was an interesting call in the Arizona game yesterday, talking about a change of possession call when Jason Gardner, remember, got that ball. I thought he had in 2 legal dribbles and then lost it out of bounds. I thought the clock should have been put back for Gonzaga on that play. That could have been a huge play in that game.
Yeah, that didn't give him the fresh 35. Instead, they had only a couple of seconds to get the shot off.
Yep. I thought that Gardner had possession.
7 on the shot clock. Chalmers, yes.
Boy, he's got a nice release. And here's where, you know, although it seemed like Maryland had this game put away, you've got to believe with Xavier's outstanding talent and the great win-loss percentage this group has had, they'll be back.
What a pass. Nicholas over to Randle.
Sensational pass.
Man.
Reverse dribble. Very seldom do you see a guy not on a backdoor cut be able to make that pass.
His 4th assist of the game.
Now Sato starting to do the same thing that Nicholas has been doing, cutting off solid screens.
Keenan Medley with the foul there.
Well, that's a tough responsibility for that freshman to stay with this outstanding player. Look at this pass. Now you see it a lot of times on backdoor cuts, the reverse dribble and then hit the ball in a bounce pass, but very seldom do you see that being thrown cross court.
Sato too strong, pulled down by Blake.
I think he was surprised at how high Keenan Medley could get up. Again,
they've beaten him to death inside here with these passes.
Jim, Keenan Medley is a freshman that did not start till midway through the season. He's a good passer, and he's had a tough assignment here today with Sato and doing pretty well with him.
Double up on West, and he too is troubled by that double team. Keenan Medley outside and back of the rim. Chalmers will come running out with it.
Probably not the shot that Maryland wanted because they had Nicholas on the other side open for the jump shot.
We saw that Wake Forest Auburn score. That's a tight one going in the east. Miles, little flip shot, not there.
Nobody on the boards. You know where West was on that one? 23 feet from the basket.
There's Holden jumper and pulled down by West. 17-point lead Maryland, just as it was at the half. Sato.
They're going to give Miles that shot. Pack back inside, does Holden.
Boy, every time Sato or West touches it, they've got 2 on him right away.
Thought they might go for the lob. Keenan Medley doing a good job from the weak side, anticipating that pass coming.
There's West. Miles. And that's why he led the Atlantic 10 in offensive rebounding.
And Jim, see how effective they are with the 2 low post players get in the low post. They've been really out of position offensively today. Miles being caught way outside much too often.
Blake 3.
Well, you have to question that shot along with a Keenan Medley shot. That's when you've got a lead and you're making it too easy for the defense, taking bad shots. If you're Maryland, you want Xavier to have to play hard-nosed defense on every possession.
West. And
nice job.
Randle came over to help out.
Boy, West beat Blake on the weak side and then beat 2 big men to get that shot up.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, Americans in uniform as soldiers, no, as cops getting ready to do battle with terrorists. Tonight on 60 Minutes after basketball.
Jim, I saw where David West, you look for these odd notes, played the tuba in the band in high school. Now, there was another player from the state of North Carolina, became a great, now he's a Hall of Famer basketball player that also had more success in the band in high school initially than he did on the basketball floor. A guy named Robert McAdoo. Kind of amazing. 2 boys from North Carolina, band members.
Maybe that's the way everybody should start out. Well, the single best, most dramatic shot of the tournament Friday night, about the midnight hour. Drew Nicholas. With his team down 1, he knocks down to 3. And Gary Williams and the Terrapins head on to the second round.
Hey, Jim, you figure with a little deeper bench, Coach Mata might have tried some half-court trapping against this Maryland team. He basically spent man-to-man the whole game. There's a hold by Miles. Didn't quite get there in time.
That's the third on Miles. That Mata, 1 year as the head coach at Butler, went 24-8. And beat Wake Forest in the first round of that tournament, led 43-10 at halftime. Xavier was playing in that same bracket, and after Xavier folks noticed his effort, and after Prosser went to Wake Forest, they said, what about that guy Thad Mata? Did such a great job for Butler. On he went to Cincinnati to take over the Musketeer job. Good young coach, only 35 years old. Tipped out, Blake with the steal.
He's got Smith on the side. Here he comes.
Trailer,
Good finish.
yes.
Good eye contact by Blake, who sees the floor about as well as anybody in college basketball. Terrific job on his part there, and a good run-in by Smith.
That's the first turnover on either side in almost 10 minutes on the game clock.
Gary Williams shouting not at his team, but as the Maryland faithful. He wants them not to fall asleep thinking he's got a chance for a team to advance.
West quickly over Smith.
He should forget about the fadeaway jump shots today and go to the hoop.
Blake shut off from going to the hoop by Finn.
It's a screen. Smith going to get called for the foul. Nicholas does a terrific job coming off those screens. All that Smith has to do, Jim, is hold his ground because Nicholas knows how to use a screen very well.
You're looking at the brackets here in the South, where the Maryland Xavier winner advances on to the regional in San Antonio. Coming up later tonight, it's Florida and Michigan State, and that winner will play the victor from this game. That was a third, by the way, on Smith. Some thought he had 3 in the first half. It's actually officially now 3 for Jamar Smith. He's come in and added some big 8 points here for the Terrapins today. And West taking advantage of Smith on that one.
There it is, going to the basket instead of the fadeaway. Then Miles can come down and get offensive rebounds even if West misses.
Nicholas, again, so high, so much elevation on his jumper, Billy.
Well, Sato can leap with him. The problem is Sato is trying to fight over the top on that double screen. We have seen Nicholas probably have about 6 good looks on that same play.
Halftime lead was 17. It's now 14. Chalmers quickly to the corner. Sato steps in for the 2.
Used the glass.
Yeah.
Got hit in the head, and he's right, but it was after the shot.
Drew Nicholas right past Chalmers. The floater not there. Musketeers trying to just chip away to each timeout, each break, every 4 minutes. Incrementally, get it closer.
They're really going to West. I think Maryland's going to have to double down on West the rest of this game and get the ball out of his hands. Force somebody else for Xavier to beat them rather than the All-American.
Talked the other night, Billy, about the finger span of David West, almost taking care of a whole ruler, almost able to just
well, he's
grab in the end the ruler.
About 10.5 inches wingspan with that thumb to little finger.
4 fouls now on Smith.
Discounted a little bit of a press release that said he could basically palm a 12-inch ruler. But that's some big hands.
So Smith out with the 4. Garrison comes back in. You know, the last 2 games, West has had so many shots around the basket that look really soft. And you think they're going to go in, get the roll, and they just have fallen off the rim. It seems a little unlucky.
Well, one of the things that should be okay for Xavier if Miles was down in that low post, because they'd be great balls to rebound offensively.
West 4 out of 13 from the floor today. Nicholas.
Again, the elevation, but a tough shot. Nicholas pushed off on that one. Pushed Sato right under the basket. Maryland starting to pile up some fouls now, giving Xavier an opportunity to get back in the game. And as I mentioned earlier, Xavier with an incredible 749 free throws they've attempted. Their opponents only 428 coming into this game. And you can see why. Going into West, it's tough to handle them without fouling. Here they go again. No double down.
Backing them in.
And another foul.
It was no question. Hack right across the arm. Monday, CBS America's Best Night of Television starts with the King of Queens, followed by the guys on Yes Dear, who, well, you're going to find out here in a week or so, they're going to the Final Four. More to come on that. Everybody Loves Raymond, still standing. Don't miss then TV's #1 news show, CSI Miami, and The Late Show with David Letterman after your local news, all here on America's Most Watched Network. Garrison, by the way, has 3. Smith has 4. West, that time got a roll.
Jim, kind of interesting. 3 times Atlantic 10 MVP. He joins Jerry Lucas, Pete Maravich, David Thompson, Ralph Sampson, David Robinson, and Keith Van Horn as the only players in college basketball history that won their conference MVP 3 years. And that other list made up a Hall of Famers.
I like that company.
Yep. It's a comeback in the works for Xavier right now. Gary Williams can feel the momentum swing, takes the timeout.
An 11-4 run it is. Got it down to 10. Still plenty of time. 12:16 left. Maryland team that has won 7 straight tournament games. The 6th in that streak. The championship in Atlanta. Steve Blake and company. Juan Dixon led the way for the Terrapins, beating Indiana in Atlanta for the national title. First in school history. Lonnie Baxter, Dixon, Byron Mouton, all seniors, all celebrating.
All 50-year seniors, Jim.
This team, again, has a lot of senior play on this edition of Terrapin basketball with experience, although Blake was the only returning starter. Nicholas such a key part of that team, too.
Let's see if Blake thinks about breaking down Chalmers again off the dribble.
Holden driving in on West.
Not a good shot. Good defense by West. Let's see if Maryland goes back to zone or they stay man-to-man. They've got to do something about stopping West. He's on a good roll right now.
Let's see if Xavier can get it under 10. They brought in Keith Jackson, who gives it up over to Chalmers.
They're looking for West. Maryland zoning it. Packing it back inside.
Miles, 5 on the shot clock. Chalmers 3, too strong. Long board goes out to Blake.
Good change of defenses by Gary Williams, doing something to stop West, who was on quite a roll there against the man-to-man.
Probably a good use of a timeout, too.
Yep.
Gainer Medley driving other side.
Wow, what a shot.
Freshman. He had a highlight move like that on Friday, too.
You know, he actually was going to put that ball up on the right-hand side of the rim and went under and came back. A tough play. And they stay in the zone. 1-2-2. Sato.
He's got the range. Up over the backs. Jackson. Tie up. And the arrow here.
We're obscured for a second.
I think it's Maryland. The arrow does indeed belong to the Terrapins. What a move by Gainer Medley.
Ryan Randle leading Maryland with 15, a stark contrast to how he struggled down the stretch and in the ACC tournament. Gary Williams said he noticed a big drop in confidence, but maybe that the tournament atmosphere turned things around for Randle. After all, he won a state high school championship in Texas, went to the junior college title game with Allegheny, said he loves that atmosphere, and he noticed the difference, more enthusiasm with Randle in practice this week, John.
He's had 4 straight years with some kind of title, Bonnie. Well pointed out there. Holden with the flip shot, in and out, and rebound by Miles. West. They collapse in on him quickly.
Good patience by West not to take a bad shot.
Sato. Man, they say that they got a piece of the hand. There are some signals being sent in from the Xavier bench.
There's the Z for Zato. But
is that a Z, or is this like Star Search and they gave him a 2 for the execution the last time down the floor?
I think it's Z. They've been calling both offensive and defensive sets from the sideline.
Travis Garrison with his 4th. So Maryland 2 subs with 4 fouls, Smith and Garrison. That was the 7th team foul, so bonus time for the Musketeers.
An opportunity to get it back to 10. You can see Xavier getting confidence going inside with their attack.
Boy, Wake Forest and Auburn, a tight one. And Texas, a 1 seed, down 1 early second half.
Now you have Blake playing the 2 guard. And let's see if he can break off and get some jump shots coming off those screens.
Largest lead of this game was 18. That was late in the first half.
Gilchrist with his hands on the ball a lot now with this offensive set. Blake trying to post up down inside on Finn.
Painter Medley has it taken away by Sato.
Opportunity to go under 10 here.
It's just under 10 on the game clock. West, will he do it? Yes.
He's got that shot.
Last time it was under 10, and that was with 9.5 to go in the first half. We got 9.5 left in the game.
Gary Williams wants another timeout.
Just slowly chipping away here, the Musketeers. Led by David West, they are back in it.
Jim, if you say anything about this conference right here, the Big East, they had 4 teams in. 4 teams have advanced to the Sweet 16. This is the ultimate report card. You can say whatever you want about selection committees, but conferences that get 4 or more teams in, they get a chance to show you how strong they were or were not in the course of the regular season. And the Big East coming out very, very well so far.
Pac-10 has only 1 left, and that's Arizona. Pushed to double overtime by Gonzaga yesterday.
Right, they had 5 in, and 4 of them are already gone.
Randle got it this time, right over Miles.
Second time today, Randle's come up with a big half hook.
17 for Randle.
And they stay in the 1-2-2 zone. McCall, who had a good aggressive first half, off the bench, out there again.
Sato.
Wide open.
Bangs it home.
Wide open is Sato. And this would really help David West if Sato or Chalmers can get a hot hand against that zone, because it'll extend it. Maryland's starting to become, I think, they're not as anywhere near as aggressive as they were. Same half hook.
This time right over the basket. All there. West was there with the box out. 7-point game and trying to trim it even more.
West will take that shot.
Steps in. Flip shot. Yes.
Maryland looks like they've lost a lot of confidence, Jim. It's amazing how things can change. And if I'm Steve Blake, I put the ball and get back to that dribble penetration to try to get some good looks inside.
They've tried to stem the momentum twice with timeouts, but to no avail.
And the answer is for Blake to dribble penetrate.
A switch off. West on him for a moment. 10 on the shot clock.
Finn wasn't able to stop this in the first half. Let's see what he can do now.
Blake drives in, kicks out, Holden from the corner, 3 off the mark. Randle flies through. Got wide on his dribble and out of bounds off Xavier.
You can feel the momentum swing here for Xavier. They're building confidence with every possession. Maryland a little unsure of themselves.
A 20-8 run by West and company. Welcome back to Nashville. Jim Nance, Billy Packer, Bonnie Bernstein. Huge momentum swing here, folks, as Maryland led by as many as 18 in that first half, and one time it was 17 a few minutes into the second half, all the way down now to 5, Billy.
Jim, we saw numbers on there, but I think right now it's a matter of emotion. Maryland, for some reason, got away from their aggressive play, particularly on offense, where they were getting a lot of dribble penetration and good looks inside. Now, Steve Blake is going to have to take over this game if Maryland's going to be successful and try to get dribble penetration going again. Whoa,
right through the hands. That quarterback just rifled that one with a little too much zip to Nicholas.
Yeah, see, Nicholas was coming off the screen, but McCall didn't wait for him at all. But again, did you see how quickly Blake gave up the ball? Where Maryland was effective early in this game is when he penetrated off the dribble and the big guys were open inside. Now here it's the West Sato game, inside, outside.
Kick back to Xavier. In comes Gilchrist. Xavier in this second half.
There's West with that good outside jumper of his. It wasn't a three, and there's Sato from the corner. And this twosome, as good as any twosome any coach has in the country, now starting to lighten it up.
Send it into Miles this time.
Good block.
What a block by Holden. Chased down by Nicholas.
First time Maryland has started to move the ball up the floor.
Nicholas on the run. Holden, yes!
And there, all of a sudden, just a change in aggressive attitude. Completely different looking Maryland team.
Holden with the block. Nicholas retrieved it. Nicholas gave it up back to Holden at the other end.
Maryland goes back to man-to-man. Maybe Garrett Williams wants to see the man-to-man become something that becomes more aggressive.
West doubled up. Outside Chalmers. Three. Yes.
Well, if you're going to double down on a big man that's willing to pass it outside, you're going to get some open looks. Nice play by David West.
And they've worked down to 4. 6.5 left.
This game is going to be a matter of which team is going to be the most aggressive offensively the rest of the way. There's a charge.
And Randle, they say, just backed in West. Charge called on Randle, his 4th.
A pretty easy call. David West held his ground. No question about it. Now Randle goes out. That hurts Maryland a lot in my estimation, even though Smith had a good half off the bench, because Randle has the good scoring touch inside.
4 on Randle to the bench, 4 on Smith, who comes in for him, 4 on Garrison also.
You don't see a look of confidence in the Maryland players' faces right now. Good backdoor cut, and there's a grab by Gilchrist. Terrific backdoor move by Sato, looking for the lob pass.
Here's the CBS Sports Line stat of the game, field goal percentages. You can get complete tournament stats, cbssportsline.com, America Online. The keyword is CBS Sports Line. So Sato will have a 1-and-1.
Had a streak of 17 straight free throws made this year.
5 out of 6 today. One of 2, and Blake, that was a huge rebound. Blake going high for the board. Nicholas.
No, he's too anxious.
Shot.
Even if he makes that shot, Jim, too anxious to take that shot. But Nicholas shows that he wants the game. Isn't it amazing? Senior players do not want to go down in their last game at all.
After that shot he hit Friday night, it's hard to question any shot he makes or takes. And Miles comes right back. The dish by West.
And a good no call on West, and the fact that he did not commit the charge. Beautiful move on his part.
Nicholas working on Sato. He is bumped by Romaine.
There is the difference. Aggressive dribble penetration.
You didn't like that shot?
No, I didn't like that shot. I thought he was off balance. He's being played by Sato. He can get a better shot than that. And even though he made it, Jim, I didn't think it was in the best interest to take it.
That was just the 3rd team foul as Blake is in for a 2. First field goal since the 10-minute mark of the first half.
Just the change of aggressive play. Isn't it amazing? The same guys on the floor playing passively and now back to playing aggressively. That's an offensive foul.
They got it right back the other way. West had pulled one off at the other end to call on Randle.
Well, this is almost a replay, just a change of uniforms, Jim.
Exactly.
Boom. No question about the call.
That's 3 on West.
And one of the things you got to think about, West has not been out of this game Sato, I don't believe, has been out of this game, so we got some 40-minute players with 5 minutes to go that could show some effects of the wear and tear here.
Timeout called by Xavier. And Billy, let's clarify one thing. The jumper from the right corner by Blake was not a 3. Coming off the inbounds pass. He stepped back, but clearly a 2. So it's a 65-59 lead for Maryland.
Holden down inside, had pretty good position initially. Smith didn't go for the feed. Gary Williams now trying to orchestrate this entire half-court offense. There's the dribble drive.
Finn with the reach-in.
This is what Maryland's game should be the rest of the way. Dribble penetration. Get the numbers inside.
Again, just the 5th team foul on Xavier. So Nicholas back on the floor for McCall. 4:42 left, 6-point lead for the defending champs, looking for the Sweet 16 at San Antonio.
3 guards, 2 big men, the offensive set for Maryland. Lob.
Oh! Right over Miles.
And again, Holden with a beautiful look. Being 6'10", he can look right over the defense. A set play, beautifully done.
What a time to connect on one of those. 10 points for Smith off the bench. Sato, beauty.
What a play. Sato thinks he can post up Gilchrist as opposed to what he's having to do with Nicholas or Kaner Medley. Good defense that time by Sato. He really fought over that screen well.
Nicholas driving, pull up 2.
On Dixon, that's a repeat, wasn't it?
Yeah, I tell you, he's often looked very similar, some of his moves.
Well, he has a great lift off the floor with that jump shot and squares up beautifully.
One of the great lifts you really ever see.
Yep.
Sato can get up there pretty high, too. West has to push it outside. Finn back to the rim and out to Gilchrist.
Nice job by Smith to break that ball loose. How about the fact that Maryland
inside to Smith from Blake.
Isn't it amazing how all of a sudden they became aggressive, got that look off their face, and now pushing the ball up the floor?
Well, one moment turned it around emotionally for them, and that was the lob to Jamar Smith.
Might want a timeout now if you're Xavier. This club has got a lot of 40-minute men on the floor. May need a rest for the last 3 minutes.
Sato 3-point shot, and all Maryland underneath, but they knock it out. 3 Terrapins were there. Holden to Jamar Smith as Maryland regains its confidence. All right, Billy Packer, how will Xavier get back into this game with only 2:56 left?
Well, Jim, the first thing that Xavier has to do is on the defensive end of the floor. They really have to pick it up because you can see that Maryland has all of a sudden become aggressive. They let the lead slip away by being passive. Now they're aggressive. If you're Xavier, go inside. There's a hold that time on Holden. But I think you got to go inside and look to kick out. Chalmers, Finn, and Sato surrounding the outside when they double down on West. Have West kick it out looking for some threes.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, Americans in uniform as soldiers? No, as cops, getting ready to do battle with terrorists tonight on 60 Minutes after basketball. 2 shots, double bonus.
%82 free throw shooter. Like to have that one back. It's got a beautiful touch.
He's missed 4 from the line today in 13 tries.
But Jim, when you think of this kid and his mom and growing up in Garner, didn't look like he had much working for him. Now he's got a college degree. National Player of the Year. Just shows what you can do. Huh?
Garner, North Carolina, pulled right out of the ACC region.
Here goes a 2-1-2 full court trap.
Double up, timeout called by Nicholas.
Very smart timeout because Maryland wasn't ready for it.
Billy, as you see the game summary, you like that timeout called by Drew Nicholas.
Absolutely. You want to call a timeout. That was a defense they had not seen yet today. See if they stay in it. It's a zone trap. And that was a nice play.
Blake on the baseline, climbs to save it.
I thought they may go. I thought Maryland might strike that time, try to get the lob to a bigger man.
Up 9, 2.5 to play. Gilchrist with 10 on the shot clock, driving in to the corner. Holden with a 3. Smith battling. Ball squirts free. Holden on the floor. Tries to get it over to Blake. And Finn gets the handle. Chalmers clapped for it.
Can't be taking this much time if you're Xavier. Get the ball inside and get the kick outside. Inside, outside.
West demanding it. Puts it up, back to the rim. Tipped around, out to Nicholas.
How about those hands by Smith? West a little bit too impatient there, Jim. I think that because Maryland is doubling down inside, he can get the kicks back outside.
From the wing, Nicholas, who usually fires that, thought better of it.
Senior experience. The clock is his teammate right now. Instead of taking the bad shot with nobody under, hold it out here and use up the 35 seconds best you can.
Every second a step closer to San Antonio. And a push-off call on Chalmers.
This has been an amazing game to watch the emotion of two teams. You had Maryland that came out so great that all of a sudden became passive. Now they're aggressive again.
We've seen Xavier cut an 18-point deficit down to 4 at 63-59, but now the margin is 9. Maryland in red inbounding, trying to get to the Sweet 16 in San Antonio. Fresh 35, 1:33 left.
Well, if you're Xavier, you got to get out after the ball quickly and try to turn it over. 3 good dribbling ball handlers on the floor here for Maryland. Gilchrist, Blake, and Nicholas can all break you down off the dribble. Surprised Nicholas has got the ball, though. Of the 3, you'd think Blake would be touching it.
And a hold on Sato. That'll be a 1-and-1. Winner of this game moving on to the Sweet 16 for a Friday-Sunday site in San Antonio. And Michigan State and Florida will be getting started shortly in Tampa. Could be a potential if Maryland holds on here. A Maryland-Florida rematch. They played early in the year at Maryland, where Florida ended the Terrapins' long non-ACC home win streak.
87 straight. Florida beat. Gilchrist had, in that particular game, speaking of this young man that's on the line right now, had his best game of the year in that ball game. Played extremely well. He was 5 for 8, 10 points, 4 assists.
It was a thrilling game with the Gators winning on the road. That's a potential matchup in the next round.
And now you see Gary Williams substituting offense and defense. Kaner Medley coming in to take Sato. Gilchrist probably come right back in if Maryland gets possession.
For those who have just joined us, a big performance by the Maryland bench today. 21-0 led by Jamar Smith's 12, including 6 for 6 from the field.
Got to be thinking 3 now.
Backing in, West on Holden. Kaner Medley comes over to help out, and Smith secures it.
Smith has been like a vacuum cleaner on the boards. There's a hold by Chalmers.
It'll be 1-and-1 for Blake.
Well, you just love in the NCAA tournament to watch the emotions of teams. Yesterday, as an example, that Gonzaga-Arizona game, to watch players on both teams, anybody that was on that floor playing to exhaustion. Here today, you're watching Maryland with confidence, then lack of confidence, then confidence back again. Jim, it probably goes back to senior leadership. You know,
vice versa, though, for Xavier. They really had a spell here in this second half where it was clicking.
Yep.
On Texas, and a real tight one with Purdue throughout. Purdue is a 1 seed a few years ago, had a big scare from Western Carolina. Now getting a chance to play the other role. Purdue eventually able to pull it out. But Chalmers, short off the rim, gets it back, and this one falls. Timeout, 40 seconds left. 9-point lead, make it 11. 11-point lead, Maryland. The Chevrolet most valuable players of the game. Let's give it to Jamar Smith from Maryland, 6 for 6, including that big dunk off the lob pass from Taj Holden, David West from Xavier, but Smith representing that whole bench crew from Maryland. Coming up so big here with 21-0 advantage versus the Xavier bench today.
Well, when you score 75 points, Jimmy, get 21 off the bench, and so efficiently off the bench, that is really something. Give Gary Williams a lot of credit. He went to that bench very early in this game, showed a lot of confidence in them, and they not only came in to steal some minutes to keep the starters out of foul trouble and keep them fresh, but they also had great production. It's a nice combination, particularly a Xavier team that, let's face it, they are not very deep. West and Sato have both played 40 minutes. Sato played 40 minutes in the previous game.
1-1 here for Gilchrist. And again, very pure for the freshman. Coming up, Michigan State, Florida for some of you. Others, Utah and Kentucky right here on the floor in Nashville.
Two teams that kind of struggled this year. For Florida, the only team that came into the NCAA tournament with 3 straight losses to end their season. That's kind of amazing, isn't it?
3
we know what they can do.
Losses. Yep. You know, they were all close, but losses nonetheless to Georgia and Kentucky and LSU. But a resounding opening round victory for the Gators.
Well, I can remember a team won a national championship called Arizona that came in with 2 straight losses and went all the way.
Chalmers fires the 3. Chased down by Blake. He's got Smith up ahead.
And a nice, smart play by Smith. They don't need any more points. They just need clock.
Well, the defending national champions are still in it. They can thank Drew Nicholas from Friday night. And an all-out performance, including phenomenal bench play today. Shaping up as some bracket down in San Antonio. They got 2 of the last 4 national champions there, with UConn and Maryland ticketed. Let's go to Greg Gumbel now in New York.
All right, Jim, thank you. And we're going to take the folks to Birmingham, Alabama, where